Hey guys, Fazzy back here, and yet another trade to report on here in the NHL, and another one involving the Vancouver Canucks, as the Vancouver Canucks have flipped the first round pick they got in the JT Miller trade with a few other assets in exchange for Marcus Pettersson. So, feels like the trade deadline week right now, tons of stuff going down since last Friday. Let's go jump into NHL 25 and take a look at this trade in game. Perfect, so we have all the pieces loaded up in game. Let's take a look. So going to Vancouver from Pittsburgh, the big piece in this deal, Marcus Pettersson. He has been a Pittsburgh Penguin for quite a while now. Yeah, going back to the 2018-19 season. I believe part of that Daniel Sprong trade, if I'm not wrong. He has been a very, very solid defenseman for the Penguins. He's not going to put you up a ton of points. Like 30 last year seems to be like kind of his best, his max. But very solid defensive defenseman, 4.5 stars in game. And then going over to the contract, he is going to be a pending UFA at the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see if he can work something out with the Vancouver Canucks for extension. Also going back, Drew O'Connor, another long-term Pittsburgh Penguin. Actually, I believe he's been a Penguin his whole entire career. And he's a very, very good bottom six guy. Nothing really outside of that. Like, he did put up 33 points last year. I think he's on pace for 25 or something about that this year. So again, you're not getting a great, elite offensive player, but you're getting a good guy for the bottom six. He also will need a contract this next year. Going back to Pittsburgh, the first in the JT Miller trade from the Rangers, it is top 13 protected. So that's going to be the big piece going back to Pittsburgh, as well as Melvin Fernstrom. He's a prospect I actually like quite a bit. Third round pick, 93rd overall in this past NHL entry draft. Obviously no stats there to look at, but he actually could be alright. Vinny Desharnais also going back. This is more or less just a cap dump. I never really understand why they signed him, especially to the money they gave him. So you get him off the books, you clear up some cap space, you get rid of a guy who just really isn't the best player overall. I think this is a good move for Vancouver. And then the last piece of this deal, Danton Heinen also going to Pittsburgh. Very similar, to what a O'Connor is going to do for you. He's going to put up anywhere from 20 to probably 35 points for you. A guy that, can be relied upon defensively somewhat. Isn't as good as he was maybe a few years ago when he was in Boston. But that is what the trade is looking like in game here today. So, sending this trade from the Vancouver Canucks to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kyle Dubas, what do you say to this trade offer? Trade accepted. Awesome to see. Let's go and take a look at the lines for both of these teams after making this trade. First off with the Canucks, nothing too crazy here on the forward core. Obviously Heinen out, Drew O'Connor in. He's a guy that easily can slot anywhere in that top 9. Very solid group of players there that you can kind of mix and match to see what gives you the best results. Defensively, Marcus Pettersson slots in perfectly there on that second pair defense. Honestly, if you can get him locked up for a couple of years, I would try and do that. Really does solidify everything for Vancouver. And in the net, still Thatcher Demko and Kevin Lankinen. And then going over to the Pittsburgh Penguins, seeing what the AI has in store for them. So it looks like they have Danton Heinen there on the third line. Honestly, if you can get him playing good there, maybe you move him up to that top 6 depending on any other trades that are made and try and raise that value. Vinny Desharnais there on the bottom pair playing with P.O. Joe. And then in the net, still Nedeljkovic and Blomqvist. But just going over my thoughts on this trade here quick before ending today's video. Starting out with the Vancouver Canucks. I really do like what they did here. I like bringing in that really solid second pairing defenseman that if you can sign, that's a big thing. If he just walks at the end of the season being a pending UFA, that's going to look rough on Vancouver. Again, this is still part technically of that JT Miller return, with that first round pick being basically the major part going back to Pittsburgh. And I still don't love it overall if you're kind of including it in there, but I like it a lot more than when the Miller trade first went down. Looking at the O'Connor and Heinen swap, again, you're saving money for Vancouver, which is good. Overall, the players are very similar, so I don't think you're really necessarily getting an upgrade there. More of a lateral movement, but you do have more cap space as we approach the trade deadline. See if the Canucks make any more moves here over the coming days. And then for the Penguins, I honestly don't mind this at all. We kind of knew it was coming. it seems like they are going to be going the direction of selling a lot of their guys, at least guys that are for sure pending UFAs, getting that value back. And it's going to be interesting to see. Does Dubas finally commit to a full-scale rebuild in Pittsburgh? Some reports have been saying yes, some reports have been saying no. I don't think they're totally out of a playoff spot at the moment, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in Pittsburgh over the next month or so. But overall, I think that is going to do it for today's video, looking at the trade sending Marcus Pettersson to the Vancouver Canucks. As always, let me know what you guys think of this trade in the comments down below. But that'll do it for this one. I will see you all in the next video.